Hello, everyone. Welcome to our community action call today. I'm so excited to have you all here with me. My name is Naiva Flory, and I have had the honor and privilege to be on the Million Mom Movement Council for a little over 5 years now, and it has been such a privilege. And I am joined today by my council members, Allison and Sherry. And we're super excited about this topic of from seed to sprout, nurturing life's journey through pregnancy. And as each one of us here currently on the council are mothers. And so we've gotten to have this experience. And I don't think any of us currently on the council got to be pregnant using the Purium products, but we've gotten to support many women along their journey using these superfoods. And so that is just profound. I personally started as a postpartum mom, and I am so grateful that I found these superfoods when I did, because they have been so helpful in my everyday mom life of just being super busy, having my hands full, juggling all the mom things, and having something super nutritious on hand is just such a godsend. And I know there's so many moms out there praying for what we have. And so as we go through pregnancy and we embark on this miraculous journey of bringing life into the world, where the tiniest seed blossoms into the most beautiful sprout of life, just as a gardener tends to their garden with their care and dedication, nurturing life during pregnancy requires patience, love, and attention to detail. From the moment of conception, every step is a testament to the incredible journey of growth and development. So we invite you today to join us as we celebrate the marvels of pregnancy, offering some guidance, some support, and some inspiration to help you cultivate and flourish cultivate a flourishing environment for you to grow this miracle and bring it forth into this world, because we all know that our children are stars from the heavens that have been given to us and to care for and to help nourish and help them thrive. And so we're just so grateful to be able to have them here on the planet with us. And so it is our job to not only nourish ourselves, it starts with us first, because we are the examples, and then they'll do what we do, right? Often, I think I saw a post that a mom posted the other day that if they want their child to drink a green drink, all they have to do is make one for themselves, and their child will steal it, and then they'll make themselves another one. And I'm a testament to that. Kainoa grew up with these superfoods since he was 4 months old. He was weaned from the breast onto superfoods, much like, I think, was it Rhea or Junie that was also transitioned from breast to superfoods. And this is such an amazing gift that we're giving our children of optimal health right from the start, starting from ourselves through pregnancy, nourishing ourselves properly, giving them the right nutrients. And then as they grow up, and if we choose to breastfeed, with my son, he was watching me drink my green drink, and he just reached for it all the time. And at first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to share it with him, because I was like, oh, there's so many ingredients, and I'm just going to stick with this rice cereal that that I was told to give my baby as a first food. But the more I thought about it, that rice cereal is really bland. It doesn't really have that much nutrients or vitamins or minerals and all these other things in it. And so as my mindset started to switch, and of course, as my son started to get a little bit older, when he was about 8 to 9 months old, is when I let him have a sip of my power shake, just a sip, because he kept reaching for it. And I was like, what's a sip gonna do? No harm, right? One sip. I could never drink a power shake in front of him again. It was over. Like, if I put a power shake down, he had it. I have pictures of him sitting where he had gotten the power shake container back when I got it in container, and he'd be sitting there with a spoon just eating the powder. That's how good it is. Our kids crave this type of nutrition. So I digress. I get excited about this topic because I love it so much. But before we move any further, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kiev to read our pledge to us, and then we'll move into our presentation. Oh,
Sorry, I had to unmute there. Okay. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations, and I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this really is something that we stand by, something that we want to share far and wide with our communities. This is a message that we want to help other moms adopt, that we're going to take care of ourselves first. We're going to ripple that out into our families and then out into our communities. And this is how we're going to make the world a better place, right? Help nourish more people, help, more healthy humans on this planet thrive. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Allison for In the News. Are you able to share your screen? Because I did not pull up those articles yet.
I'm just going to pull up the article. It's a great article. Jared's here to help me, so thank you, Jared. But yeah, I'm drinking my barley grass juice right now, which I know has such amazing benefits for new mothers, and is just so delicious. I encourage, if anyone hasn't tried the barley grass, to really try that and share with your friends who are going to give birth or have, because this helps to, actually, it's been proven to help your milk production. Jerry, okay, sorry, I'm just gonna get the article coming up now, which it's
maybe a Naiva.
It's in the in our group chat on Facebook, if you're able to, because Jared signed in with his Facebook, so he can't access it. It was the second article.
Okay, just talk for a minute. I'll get it
Okay. Yeah. Well, so yeah, let me know if you guys have had barley grass, because this is really amazing, amazing. And we're going to talk about more post next week. We have an amazing call lined up as well. This is a 3-part series. So last week we did pre-pregnancy. This week we're doing pregnancy, healthy pregnancy. And then next week we're doing post-pregnancy. So we have an amazing guest as well lined up for next week, who's a really incredible knowledge on all that. So, okay, we're going to share the screen now. I have it up. Thank you, Jar. Okay, weed whacking herbicide proves deadly to human cells. This is in Scientific American, sorry. So I'm going to post this article for you guys to be able to share, because it's really informative. And so yeah, used in gardens, farms, and parks around the world, this weed killer Roundup contains an ingredient that can suffocate human cells in a laboratory, researchers say. So this is science. This is, they know this is out there. There's a lot of information you can look up on this, but so let me just go down to where it said about umbilical cords here. So the new findings intensified a bit. Okay, so-called hang on, glyphosate until now. Yeah. So this is what I really wanted to focus on here in this article. And you guys can definitely read this article and share it, because there's a lot of information here. But one specific inert ingredient, polyethoxylated toluamine, or POEA, was more deadly to human embryonic, placental, and umbilical cord cells than the herbicide itself, a finding in research calls astonishing. So we already know that the key ingredient, glyphosate, in Roundup is very carcinogen and deadly to human cells, but they're also saying there's other chemicals in Roundup and in these sprays that, and not only, see, we don't look at when we're eating. And I was so guilty of this during my pregnancy, because, we're taught that when we're pregnant, just eat whatever you want. And the more, the better, you're feeding your baby. And yes, we're knowing that we're feeding the baby, but I was not aware of what I was feeding the baby. And I was eating at restaurants and eating all the donuts I wanted, and really indulging, being like, oh, I'm pregnant. And I gained 60 pounds with my pregnancies. And I know that there's things that I did, even though luckily we have two healthy girls, they were both born with certain issues like eczema and gastrointestinal issues. Like they had, what's the one that she had? Rhea had colics, very colicky, always, her digestion was always, just so disturbed as a young infant, as a baby. And also with constipation that they dealt with. And I know that these, they are, we think of them as normalized and small, but these are the effects of ingesting these foods that go into our baby through the umbilical cord. So yeah, just clearly confirms that the inert ingredient in Roundup formulations are not inert. So there's a lot that says, oh, it's safe, even not organic, it doesn't matter to eat, organic. They say, with things like soybeans, alfalfa, corn, these are, and so many other crops are just so heavily sprayed, and we're eating them oftentimes in a really concentrated form, like when we're eating processed foods, and, just a lot of excess of these food groups that are sprayed. I don't want to go too much into the article. I'm just going to leave it there, but I wanted to just share that there was, we talked so much about glyphosate, and that is a active ingredient in Roundup, but that there's other chemicals that are also going in that we want to, that's why we really, even at the grocery store today, and I just shared this on my Facebook, they're spraying, I don't know if you've seen this in all the grocery stores now, they're spraying all the produce with what we think, because I thought was just water. I was like, great, they're washing the produce for me. I don't even have to wash it when I get home. And I was doing this, like, I was thinking this is more, I was like, great, they've implemented a new way of keeping stuff fresh. No, this is not water. If it was water, actually it would be doing the opposite. It would be wilting the fruit and veggies more. So what this is, and I posted about it, it's actually a chemical formula to preserve the fruits and veggies, and everything that is designed to preserve is not with you in mind. It's not with health in mind. It's with profit in mind. That's all. And like they say, the longer the shelf life when it comes to, things that are not meant to have like raw dehydrated is different because they're removing the water, but the longer the shelf life with preservatives and things like that, the shorter our life. These are not good for our health. So I want everyone to be also mindful that, even if it's organic, understand we really do have to, take precautions to make sure our produce is clean, that we're supporting companies like Purium who offer glyphosate-free foods, and just to be more educated on, like, I didn't know that all that water that they're spraying, we just have to look around us and question and research. And it's just a reminder as moms and everyone to just go that, that it's important. We have to go that extra mile to learn and educate ourselves. And passing it back to you, Naiva, yeah.
Thank you so much, Allison. Yes, such great information. It's so true that so much of our food is contaminated with chemicals, and a lot of times we don't even know. We might be reaching for the organic produce, and then, like Allison said, they're spraying it and drenching it with some kind of chemical that is preserving it so it doesn't wilt within their little refrigerated sprinkler system in the veggie department. And so it's really interesting as we learn, we can't unknow, right? We don't know what we don't know, but we can't unlearn something that we've learned. All we can do is learn this new information and take it and go out there and, put it into practice. Make sure that we are taking our own precautions and then sharing this information with others. And so we have a couple other articles that I just wanted to bring forward as well. And then that way we can share these with you, just because it's so important to have lots of resources. And these article links are shared with you within the Million Mom Movement official when we post the replay. So if anybody's ever looking for these, that's where you can find these links again. So can you have a healthy plant-based pregnancy? That's the question, right? There's a common misconception out there that in order to meet your nutritional requirements for pregnancy, animal products must be included in your diet. So according to a position paper on vegetarian diets from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, well-planned vegan, lacto-vegan, and lacto-ovo vegetarian diets are appropriate for all stages of life cycle, including pregnancy and lactation. And eating a variety of whole plant-based foods gives you all the nutrients that you need and that your developing baby needs. So as you encounter the different stages of pregnancy, your body does have different requirements regardless of what diet you're following. It is important to know how these requirements change to provide your baby the greatest chance possible of achieving optimal health. So let's take a quick look at some of the special considerations. So calories and food intake, right? The first trimester, you know, a lot of times during the first trimester, we might be having some morning sickness. It might be a little bit hard to keep the food down. I've had great success with women who have lots of morning sickness with aminos. The super amino 23 are great because you just swallow them with water. Just get over, you know, any kind of smell or taste effects that that might cause, because I know that's a huge thing when you're pregnant. And take those aminos, because that will actually give you the nutrition. A lot of times we're getting nauseous because our body is craving nutrition. It's craving nutrients, and a lot of the foods that we're eating are void of the nutrients that we need. And so it's so important that we fuel ourselves. So the number one thing that has helped women that I know of during morning sickness period is just taking some aminos first thing in the morning before the morning sickness even hits. And some of them have eliminated the morning sickness completely by kind of beating their body to that reaction. By giving their body optimal nutrition, they don't ever get the morning sickness, which, hallelujah, I think anybody that has had morning sickness can attest to being so happy when that period is over. And then the other thing that I've found great success, and this has helped with probably 50% of the women that I have helped during this stage, is a power shake. So aminos have always worked 100% of the time. A power shake, some women have had a hard time at taking it down. And so I've suggested that they water it down, or that they just take little sips throughout the day of a power shake. Even if you just get one power shake in the whole day, at least you got it in, right? So we're all different. We all react differently to tastes and smells, especially during this time of pregnancy. So I just want to mention those two things for anybody that's in that first trimester. So at this time, there's no need for calorie increase, just consuming adequate calories. And really just, I won't go too deep into this. You can read this for yourself later, but it goes into, as long as you're following a healthy and well-balanced plan, thriving on plant-based diet during pregnancy is 100% possible. So that's really what I wanted to bring to you all today. And then of course you can go on and read the rest of the article. And then we had one more article, is which foods to eat or avoid during pregnancy. So a healthy diet is vital for meeting the physical demands of pregnancy and boosting fetal health. Whole grains, fruits, vegetables, iron-rich foods can all be beneficial, but alcohol, caffeine, and some fish and cheese may not be safe. Of course, let's avoid the ones that are not so safe. To each their own, but you know, definitely stick to the foods that are most nutritious and fueling your body as opposed to depleting your body. So I'm gonna scroll down here. Fruits and vegetables. Currently, around 90% of the United States population does not get the daily recommended intake of vegetables. This is a statistic across the board, not just for pregnant people. So, you know, take this into consideration as you're out there sharing. 90% of people are not getting enough vegetables in their daily diet. And then think about that. Out of that 90%, only 1% is actually getting organic fruits and vegetables. And that statistic is from a different article, but I do remember it because it's stuck in my mind that, like, wow, only 1% of people in the United States actually eat an adequate amount of fruits and vegetables that is organic. So, you know, the national guidelines aims to 2.5 cups of vegetables and 2 cups of fruit per day. So that's something that's super easy to do with what we have here at Purium, is being able to just have that power shake. That power shake is equivalent to like 6 or 7 servings of vegetables, and add a little bio fruit to it if you know, don't want to have a second shake that day. And you've had your fruits and vegetables. And of course, the apothecary in the evening has so many antioxidants that it really does fulfill that need for the 2 cups of fruit intake, even because it's so concentrated, you're getting a similar amount of antioxidants from that. So it's really important that we're getting the right things in our body to fuel us. So complex carbohydrates, of course, getting, you know, like sweet potatoes, butternut squash, healthy whole grains, you know, legumes, beans, chickpeas, all these things are so good for you. And many of them are also really high in proteins, other minerals, vitamins, and things that come from the earth, especially the potatoes and things that are grown in the soil. They're absorbing all of this. And so it's really great. And then protein, of course, there is always a mass thing about like, are you getting enough protein? If you're taking your aminos every day, you're getting enough protein. So if you need additional protein, you can take more aminos. You can take up to 30 aminos a day. So I know that the recommended dose is 5 at a time per serving, but you can take, 15, 20, 30 a day if you feel like you are not getting enough protein. I know that like athletes, people that work out a lot, take up to, 30 a day. I would say as a pregnant mom, probably 15 or 20 is adequate unless you feel like you need more. And then that 5 grams of protein, those 5 aminos that you take is enough just for like your daily serving, your base amount that you need for the day. So that really helps you to just rest easy and know that you're getting your nutrients. You don't have to worry if you don't feel like cooking or if smells of different foods are turning you off during that first trimester. This can really be helpful. And then there's, of course, plant-based protein powders, which we have the very best. Our pea protein is one of the only pea protein powders that is proven to not have glyphosate. Let me say that again. There is a peer review journal out there under Momavation. You can look it up and you can look up protein powders on her page. And she has a whole article about all of the different protein powders that she tested. And she had tested every protein powder and put out an article that said every protein powder contained glyphosate. So many of us reached out to her and asked her to try Purium's protein powder. And so she actually, when edited the article, and Purium is at the very bottom, and it's the only one that's detected of 0 glyphosate. So hallelujah for that. So grateful we can trust this company and know that we have the very best pea protein powders. So you can, this is another reason why we align with this company. Like Allison shared earlier, glyphosate is so prominent in our food. It comes into our breast milk, into the umbilical cord of our babies. So it's really important that we avoid it throughout our pregnancy and that gestation period. And then of course there's other products. If you do soy products, there's tofu, otherwise beans, lentils, legumes, nuts, seeds, and nut butters all contain high amounts of protein. So don't let people tell you that vegetables don't contain protein or that you're not getting enough protein. You're doing just fine. Stick with what you know, and we're just here to share what we know as well. Of course, healthy fats are always good. Eating lots of coconut oil is important. That can help you avoid stretch marks as well, and getting adequate fiber. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that there so that way you can read through the whole article yourself, because I could, go through the whole thing, but there's so much information to share. And I'd like to also just share quickly a little bit of my own story and a little bit about how these superfoods have impacted my life. So this is when I first started Purium. Kainoa was a small baby. He was newborn. I had 5 kids in 4 different schools. I was overwhelmed and undernourished. I was burning the candle at both ends, so to say, and I was dreading going back to work at that time. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And my midwife is actually the one that shared these superfoods with me. And she shared it with me primarily for the nutrition, because she could see that as a super busy mom, even though I was making smoothies and doing the things that, were healthy, I wasn't necessarily doing it every day, and I was exhausted. And so she wanted me to have something at my fingertips. So she actually shared with me the Love Super Meal. And that was the very first product that I got to try. And I had 1 cup of super meal and I was sold. It was the vanilla chai one. And had so much energy. I literally didn't feel like I was going to crash at the end of that day. My normal days were getting the kids off to school. And then when I'd come home, the baby would be tired. I'd have to put him to sleep, do house chores. By the time the kids came home from school, you guys, I was exhausted. I had been living off coffee until about noon. I had finally managed to put something into my body before getting the kids from school. And so I really wasn't taking care of myself the way that I needed to optimally take care of my family. So then Purium was introduced to me, and it was such a godsend. It helped me so much to balance my days and do something for myself first. And so I really encourage all the moms out there, at the bare minimum, get your core 4 daily and then add in the things that you need from there. So becoming a new mother is exciting, yet also scary. On one hand, you have a beautiful opportunity to raise another human being who is totally dependent on you. On the other hand, you're raising another human being who is totally dependent on you. Deep breaths. Don't worry, you can totally do this. We have faith in you. We also recognize that the process can be a bit challenging, so we're making it easier. So I'd like to just introduce you to the first three products that I was introduced to when I got started. So daily nourishment on a cellular level really starts with getting these three components into your bodies and more, of course. But the power shake, it's your greens for nourishing and alkalizing your body. It's equivalent to 6 or 7 servings of vegetables. So you're getting tons of vegetables, you're getting lots of phytonutrients, all your micros and macros are in there. It has lots of healthy fats. It's got protein in there. I mean, it is just everything that you need to feel really balanced, and it tastes delicious. And then apothecary is tart cherries. It has high amounts of antioxidants. It helps reduce free radicals in your body. It also helps to create natural melatonin in the body, as well as reduce inflammation. So if you have edema towards the end of your pregnancy where you're retaining water, the tart cherry can really help you in reducing that inflammation. And then Super Amino 23 is a vegan legume-based protein with it's a clean protein source for natural energy, and it helps with so many other things. And I'm going to go into each individual product. So nourish your body with super greens and healthy fats. The Power Shake is our legacy green drink that can help energize and balance alkalinity every day. We recommend Power Shake for anyone, and mothers are no different. This green drink packs a ton of superfood nutrition for both mom and baby. And like I mentioned, you know, my son was weaned onto this amazing green drink because it tastes so good. He literally still, you know, craves it and asks for it today. He's turning 10 this week, actually. So here are some specific reasons why we love it. Key nutrients from greens like wheatgrass and spirulina, beta carotene from carrots, provides vital nutrition quickly for busy moms, increase energy, reduce cravings, fuel your cells, and create satiety. And this is all for under like $2.50 per serving. All you have to do is add water. Like it's the easiest thing. And I'm so grateful somebody shared this with me as a postpartum mom because this is something I absolutely needed. Let me go back a page. So all you do is mix it with water, shake it up, and enjoy it. These are the ingredients. Something else I'd like to mention that I'm really proud about as a mom, and I think so many of us, you know, as we become parents, we become more and more aware of our environment and the impact that we have on our environment. And we've transitioned to plastic-free packaging in the last few years. So this packaging is actually compostable in your yard and something to be really proud of. So you can go ahead and drop me a 2 in the comments if you love our compostable packaging. That's something that I'm super happy that we transitioned to. When I first started, we had these, I still kept a couple of them. We had these lovely plastic containers. And you know, I can go all into the statistics and how much of a footprint it leaves to have those plastic containers versus these Terra pouches, but we'll save that for another day. Moving on to the apothecary. The apothecary contains a wide variety of unique antioxidants, phytochemicals to help balance circadian rhythms, support healthy joint function, and promote healthy uric acid metabolism. This tart cherry also helps provide natural occurring melatonin and help support deep sleep. As a mom, every minute of shut eye counts, right? Especially when you have a brand new baby. So this, you know, getting that natural melatonin is really important. But don't worry, you went you won't be so knocked out that you'll miss hearing your baby, right? It's just going to help you sleep really deep in the moments that you are sleeping. With more sleep, new moms may enjoy less stress too. So that's an added bonus. And in addition to its sleep encouraging phytochemicals, tart cherry also supports the body's response to inflammation. This means that it may help reduce redness in the face and other parts of the body. And thanks to its high ORAC count and the ability to fight free radicals as well. So it says here, deepen sleep, combat free radical damage, beautify skin, create healthy response to inflammation, and enhance your collagen. And then we have our Super Amino 23. Super Amino 23 is incredible. It's a pre-digested vegetarian protein support comprised of 9 essential free crystalline amino acids that are rapidly absorbed in the bloodstream in 23 minutes. So it is not digested, it is absorbed into the bloodstream. So that's why I think it really helps women. And when you're having morning sickness, it is actually absorbed and not digested. And it's done in such a quick manner that your body can absorb those nutrients and stop feeling nauseous or feeling void of those nutrients, which is usually why morning sickness occurs. So essential amino acids are considered the building blocks of protein. The formula is clinically proven to support protein production and skin elasticity for a more lean appearance. What's in it? And so we'll go into what's in it in a second. It's on the next page. With breastfeeding and taking care of a child, moms may be lacking a source of protein. So Super Amino 23 packs a whole ton of protein, which is so easy. You can do it even while breastfeeding. You just have your glass of water, you take some aminos. It's super easy. Plus, the free crystalline amino acids absorb rapidly into bloodstream and may help boost recovery, muscle strength, and more. And finally, they may help tone your body tissue, tighten up from, especially after you have the baby, or even reduce stretch marks during your pregnancy. It can help create that skin elasticity during pregnancy. So aminos are really great for that. But the nutrition is what matters most. Lots of mothers have reported that Super Amino 23 has helped transform their energy levels, alleviate the need for coffee. So if you're trying to avoid coffee, but you're still needing that energy, the aminos are incredible. Super Amino 23 blend is incredible. It has these 9 essential amino acids in it that are used in the body in the biosynthesis of protein. The body does not produce these amino acids on its own and must absorb them through your diet. So our amino acids are sourced from non-soy legumes. And so L-leucine helps the body regulate blood sugar while supporting hormones and muscle production. L-lysine acetate supports protein and collagen production in the body. L-valine helps promote muscle growth and repair. L-isoleucine supports the body's response to recovery of wounds, detoxification of nitrogenous waste, and hormone production. And then phenylalanine, I don't know if I'm saying that right, plays an important role in helping the body synthesize other essential amino acids, supporting the protein and enzyme production. And then L-threonine supports metabolites and that are important for fat metabolism and build up in the liver. So these are all really crucial and really important for your body to get on a daily basis. And I created a little schedule here. This one includes the Biomedic as well that I didn't go over, but Biomedic is our proprietary blend that helps to reduce glyphosate in your body. And so this is really important as as you're detoxing, and some midwives recommend it, some midwives don't. So just, do what you feel like is right for you. But I feel like reducing glyphosate from our body is really important. And then the barley green juice, like we mentioned earlier, this one is really great for milk production. So if you're having a hard time producing enough milk, or you have a feeling that you might have a hard time if you had previous experiences where you didn't produce enough milk, you can start taking this in your 3rd trimester and building your milk glands up so that way you're creating, you'll be able to create enough milk for your baby. So Purium's barley green juice is grown in pristine fields and watered with mineral springs to ensure that it's nature's maximum nutritional input. And it contains high assimilable chlorophyll, which is important for total nutrition. So it aids in the achievement of healthy pH levels, great for natural cellular cleansing, may support healthy blood sugar levels when taken between meals. This is one of the most important products for new moms. So as a cereal grass, it provides a pH balancing grains and natural cellular cleansing. So I'm going to stop right there. And I'm actually having my barley greens juice right now. It's very much like a matcha flavor in the flavor profile. Like if you like having matcha, it's got a little bit of that green and bitter taste. And so I just have barley grains with a little bit of oat milk. That's it. If you want to add a little honey or something to it, you can and make it more like a matcha. But this is just barley greens juice. I do find that the kamut is a little sweeter, so I've also been sometimes putting like a teaspoon of barley green and like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of kamut, and then I'm actually like fortifying my green drink with an additional amazing nutrients from the kamut, and it also actually sweetens it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to you, Allison, to introduce your guests, and we'll keep going. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thank you for that amazing information, Naiva. There's amazing slides. I learned some new stuff too, and just a great education for everyone. So we have a few guests who are, so our first guest I'm going to introduce is Stephanie, who is with baby right now in her third trimester. And she has had an incredible journey that I've gotten so privileged to witness through her, pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, and now Stephanie, if you can just share, what this experience has been for you on these superfoods.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry if there's noise. I'm outside. So I wanted to just start with like a little bit of background information because I think that that's important to explain where I am now. So basically, my history. So I've always been somebody who's been overweight. Like ever since I was about 10 years old, I've struggled with my weight. I had depression and anxiety, but I always wanted kids. I was put on birth control at 17 years old to regulate my dysmenorrhea. I had very, very severe dysmenorrhea. Oh my God, sorry, dysmenorrhea. And I knew that this was not the life that I wanted to bring children into. And so I was lucky enough to start working at a daycare in 2017 where I met Allison. And thank God for that, because that's how I am where I am today. And basically during COVID, when everything was like locked down, we couldn't go anywhere. I was introduced to Purium by Allison. I was at like one of my heaviest weights ever. My mom had just passed away. I was very, very depressed and very, very anxious. So I started with Purium. After a month, I could just see the difference, feel the difference. It was just amazing. There was no feeling like it. So I just knew like this is the path I need to continue on. And I did. I fell out of the business for a little bit, but I've always been consistently taking the products. And then at about 30, 31 years old, my husband and I have been together for 12 years. We decided, okay, we want to start a family. So I started the process of getting off of birth control. This was something that I was very nervous about because, as I said, the birth control was controlling my dysmenorrhea, or so I thought. And so I went through like a whole process, a whole program of detoxing my body for 2 months with the ultimate lifestyle transformation, which is basically the core four, but more intense, and with oh my God, what's the word? Parasite cleanse, sorry. And then I went to the gynecologist. She took out my IUD, and lo and behold, my periods were amazing. I never had any problem. Like month after month, it came back, no problems. I never had any sort of like withdrawal from the hormones. I was able to just like slip right back into it, no problem. And I had no dysmenorrhea. Like it was completely healed and completely gone. And I know for a fact that that's just because of the way I had been treating my body before that. Like when I was a teenager, I ate all the processed stuff and meat and everything. Also important to say that even before Purium, I was vegan. I've been vegan since 2015. So almost 10 years now that I haven't eaten a piece of meat. And for sure that's contributed to it as well with all the hormones that they put and everything that they inject into the meat. So yeah, so having kids, that was like the biggest thing for me. I've wanted kids ever since I was a child. I actually found a diary recently that my mom was writing of for my sister and I, and it was in 93. 93. So I must, or 94. So I was 3 years old. And she asked my sister what she wanted to be. She said a doctor. Then she said, Stephanie, what do you want to be? And she said, and I said, a mommy. I've always wanted to be a mom, like literally ever since I was a baby. Okay. So this was very, very important to me to do this properly. And I was sort of like disappointed that I never got to have kids in my 20s. But there was a reason for it, you know, because I would not have done this properly otherwise. It's because of everything that I had learned going through the medical system, like with my sick mother and all of this stuff. And then COVID and everything, it really opens up my eyes to the medical system and really showed me that I wanted everything to be very, very natural throughout my pregnancy. So so the first thing I did was I lost a bunch of weight. So I lost 60 pounds through Purium, working out, you know, watching what I was eating and everything. Although it became super easy with Purium. Like I always had like a sort of like a food addiction. I always had to binge eat. That was my thing. And that's how I gained so much weight, especially after my mom passed away. But with Purium, it became so easy to not binge eat. I didn't feel the need. My body was so well nourished from all of the nutrients that I just did not have the need to binge anymore. And I remember thinking, hey, it's been a while since I binged. And I remember messaging Allison saying, like, I haven't binged in so long. And it's because my body is just finally feeling nourished instead of constantly depleted. And then, so then we finally started trying. And like within 3 months, I was pregnant. And I was 32 at the time. So, you know, they're always telling you, well, once you get into your 30s, everything starts to go downhill and everything drops. But 32 took me 3 months. It was no problem getting pregnant. Ever since then, my pregnancy has been amazing. So I've been taking basically the core for the entire time. I'm not gonna lie, the green juice was sort of hard to stomach in the first trimester. I didn't throw up that much, but I was nauseous, very, very nauseous. So I switched it out for Epigenius family. And that has the biomedic already inside of it. So it was sort of like it was sort of like a 2-for-1. And that I was able to stomach because it was like a chocolatey flavor. It was just a little bit easier on me. And once the nausea passed by like week 15, I was able to start reintroducing the power shake, and now I've just been sort of going back and forth with it. So as I was saying, everything has been going like super, super well throughout this pregnancy. I've only gained about 30 pounds in the last 30, I'm 33 weeks now, so 30 pounds in the last 33 weeks. My blood pressure is perfect. Like I've never had a doctor tell me that my blood pressure was perfect. It was always like borderline, you know? I also contribute that to moving to the country, because the city was really a big stressor for me. So being out here in the country where it's like calm and peaceful and you hear the birds chirping all the time was just for sure helpful as well. And then one of the things that I started with an OB here in St. Agathe, which is where I live. And but I put my name on the birthing center list from day one because I knew I don't want to give birth in a hospital. I don't want to be controlled by the doctors and the medicine and everything that they have to say because they push so much on you that I don't agree with. Like, I don't want to be induced. I don't want to have an epidural. I want to have a natural birth and really just be like just leave my body to do what it's meant and knows how to do. That was very important to me. So I did get accepted to the birthing center, and because even though I'm overweight, I'm healthy enough to be there. They accepted me and I've been with my midwife ever since. She was super impressed when she saw my iron levels and saw that I've been vegan since 2015. She was like, how is this possible? Most women who eat meat have very low levels of iron, especially during pregnancy. My levels are amazing. But it's funny because even though I've sort of like opted out of the medical system, so for example, for the glucose test that they always make you do for gestational diabetes, I refused it. Instead, I just prick my finger fasting and then 2 hours after breakfast, and I get my numbers like that. And even though I've done this, I just had my 32-week scan, measurement scan. And they're like all concerned now because apparently the number for like amniotic fluid like max should be 20 and I'm at 21. and my baby's in the 94th percentile. So now they think that I have gestational diabetes, even though they can see that my numbers are fine. My midwife doesn't, but she wants me to go and check to be sure that these numbers are like that the scan numbers are correct. She says as the baby gets bigger, it's harder for them to take pictures and images, and the baby has like a big belly and all of this stuff, and it's a sign of gestational diabetes. I'm like, okay, well, I take my blood sugar all the time and we can see that it's fine. But it's because I didn't do that 75-gram test that they just have it in their heads that there's got to be something wrong. So now I'm going to these. I haven't been to the hospital since I got pregnant, but I'm going to go to these appointments just because I sort of want them to leave me alone and for them to see that there's nothing wrong. And I still want to be able to give birth at the birthing center. So I'm going to go through the formality this time, but I'm still going to refuse this glucose test. For sure, they're going to ask me to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show them my numbers. Yeah, I just know that everything is fine because I can see it, you know. It's funny that even when you opt out of this medical system, like you're still somehow brought back into it. But I know that everything's going to be fine. I'm going to have an amazing natural birth, and I'm going to end up giving birth at the birthing center, and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. And they will try, and every turn they're going to try and put fear into you,
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah.
you're so aware to know that they're going to do that. And I appreciate so much your share. You are such an inspiration, and you are such an advocate for yourself and for all the for all the moms who are listening. I'm so excited to, you know, like people don't know those things. They don't know that they can refuse certain things. They don't know that, you know, I didn't know those things. So I wish I had you leading the way before I was pregnant, but it's so inspiring. Thank you so much for your share. Your story I've witnessed it firsthand, and you know, it's like it's the most beautiful journey to have witnessed. And you're such a deserving and beautiful person. I'm so happy that we connected. And look at that, we met through my daughter's daycare. Like
Yeah.
we need to talk to people in our local community about these things, because there's people praying for these solutions that we don't know. And so I'm so grateful that we're locked arms for life in this, and you're helping so many just by your example, and I know helping thousands after, because I know that your story is just going to be such an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to meet my little baby. I'm so excited. So another dear friend of mine who I've known for also well before Purium, and we've you know, we've known each other. My brother was good friends with her, and she's like my free-spirited wild child little sister. I love her so much, and I witnessed her incredible birth with these superfoods. And so she had her first baby without, and her second baby with. And Kiev, if you can unmute and just share your experience with these superfoods and what they did for you.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm so happy to come share my story, as always. Like anytime you invite me, I'll be here. Let me just start off with saying, and I don't even know if Dave and Amy, the founders of this company, even know this, okay? But let me tell you, and let me tell them, Purium was made for mothers and mothers to be. Like, it's that simple. It was made for us. Like, and I don't even think that's an intentional thing, but it was. And so let's see. So my first baby, like Allison said, I hadn't been introduced to Purium yet. I was introduced to Purium when my first was 2.5, and I was exhausted. Like, I was so tired. I couldn't figure out why. And Imperium changed my life at that moment, you know. And I honestly, when I looked at the products the first time, I didn't really care for them. I didn't care for anything that came in powder, unless it was my herbs. I didn't care about capsules. I was just like, I want nothing to do with it. But Allison, as you know, she just shared, was a friend that I had known for a long time, and I just wanted to support her on the journey. And so I bought a bunch of products, and they sat there for a bit, and I didn't use them. And then I was like, well, I have them, so I might as well. And I looked at the ingredients, and when I read the ingredients, that was a whole, that's what changed everything. When I read the ingredients of the products that Purium has to offer, I was like, oh my God, okay, this is real food. This is organic. This is not just some weird, like, it's not a scam, you know? Like, I was just like, oh, okay, this is real food. It's not fillers or no artificial things. There's no artificial sweeteners. And I was like, okay, let me give this a try. And lo and behold, you know, within 2 months, I wasn't drinking coffee anymore. I was sleeping well, thanks to the apothecary, which is my absolute favorite. Um, and that's where the changes started to happen, right? I was energized, I was sleeping well, and those are the two things that you want as a mom. Okay, you want to be energized because you want to be able to run and roll on the floor with them, you know, like, and you want to sleep well because you want to be energized, and you want to sleep well because you want to be patient, right? It takes a lot of patience. We're running around, we're doing all of the things. Our kids are like balls of energy, right? And you want to keep up. You don't want to be impatient. You want to be patient enough to respond to them with kindness and calmness. You want to have the patience to talk with them and explain things to them, right? And to have that, you need to be energized, you need to be well fueled, you need to sleep well, okay? And you need time, okay? And so that was the first part of my transformation with Purium. Fast forward 5 years, I guess. You know, I never stopped using my superfoods. And then in April 2021, we decided time to get pregnant again. You know, I didn't want more than a 5-year gap between my kids, and it took a month. Within a month, I was pregnant. Okay, and the second pregnancy, like anyone will share, you know, all pregnancies are very different. My first one, I was queen of the world. and the second one, I had a little bit more of a hard time, in that I was very nauseous. I didn't want to eat solid food. That's an issue, especially when you're a foodie like me. You know, you want to eat, and Purium again just came in, and it was, listen, my pantry was just Purium. Okay, so Stephanie just shared she's been using the Daily Core 4 throughout her pregnancy. For me, it was the Daily Core 4, the Epigenius, all the vanilla chai, the love chai, the juice bar in a bag. Like, I had it all, like all of it, and that's really where I was nourishing myself. This is how I nourished myself the whole time, because anytime I had solid food, I was like, you know, maybe not all the time, but the majority of the time I wasn't into solid food. I remember that with my first pregnancy, this is horrible. I didn't like candy. I was never a candy person. And during my first pregnancy, I had a bin of candy in my car. Again, I used to just eat all the candy. And during my second pregnancy, I realized, I was like, if I'm craving that sugar, I'm craving fruits. You know, that's what I'm actually craving. I'm craving fruits, you know? And so I got it all through, especially the juice bar in a bag. The juice bar in a bag was a lifesaver for me. Power shake, like, and juice bar in a bag. I used to do all the mixes, and I was just like, I'm getting all these fruits in me, you know? And then, you know, I had a midwife follow me, and at one point she had told me that, you know, I wasn't iron deficient, I wasn't anemic, but I was close to it. Like, I was on the cusp. You know, she was like, I need you to get your iron levels up. And so she prescribed me with these iron supplements, which to me, like, if I can do it with food, that will be that's where I'm going to go to first, you know? So I was like, wait, okay, wait, let me see what I can do. And so I started taking cracked cell chlorella and the barley grass, doubling down on my power shake as well, because it does have spirulina in it, and making sure that I can absorb these nutrients, right? And so the biomedic came in very handy at this point as well. And the next time, a month later, yes, and See From Nature. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. Yeah, See From Nature, 100%. I was like, See From Nature, cracked cell chlorella, barley grass, and power shake. Like, these were, in those moments, were critical for me and throughout the rest of my pregnancy. And then I went back, and my levels were back up, and they were back to normal. And it was really important. In the third trimester, what's really important is that if you become iron deficient, it's your baby is actually going to lack the iron even within his first month of birth. of being born, right? So that's why they're so concerned about your iron levels during your pregnancy. And so that was again, the fact that I could do it through food and not have to take supplements was really, I really appreciated that. You know, I'm very grateful to have been able to do it the natural way, you know, because if I can, that's where that's what I'll choose. And yeah, so I gave birth. It was still COVID. It was the end of COVID. I had a midwife follow my pregnancy, but within my last month of pregnancy, they suspended home births, which was my plan. I wanted to have a home birth. I wanted to have a home water birth. And about a month before my due date, my midwife called me. She said, "We're suspending home births at home. We're understaffed because of COVID. You know, nobody's going to be able to come to you if you're giving birth at home. We need people in the birth center." And that was hard for me, because I really wanted to have my home birth, because at the birthing center, I could only have my partner there. We had to test for COVID before going into the birth center. My son and my sister couldn't be there, which wasn't really important to us. And it was really important for me to have my son with me, right? When you're giving birth, you want to be releasing oxytocin, right? And so I was like, well, what better way to do that than to have your kid with you, you know? So to me, that was very important. And so in that moment, for that month, I learned about free birth, did a lot of research about free birthing, and I that was my decision, and that's what I visualized. And every day I was focused on where I was going to give birth and how I was going to do it, and it was going to be me, my partner, my son, and my 17-year-old sister, who I had the honor of being there when she was born. So it was so important for her to be there when I was going to give birth to my second. And I made that happen. And in the moment where and I ended up in free birthing. My midwife came after the fact, and thank goodness she came. But I got to give birth with my family, and during this time through the contractions. And I'm doing cat cow, you know, on my mat, and I'm in the bath getting in and out, and I'm feeling the baby crown, and I pulled the baby out, like everything, like the dream birth, right? Well, guess what I had with me the whole time? Purium. Okay. I was drinking cocoa hydrate. And because cocoa hydrate has electrolytes, and you want to stay hydrated in those moments. And so guess what? I had my cocoa hydrate while I was free birthing in my home with my family. And so that's kind of to tie the pregnancy. The story of my pregnancy is Purium. Like, my second born is full on Purium baby. One of the first foods he ate was, you know, little like oatmeal with power shake in it. It was it. And to this day, it's a fight in my house. I can't make myself my green juice or my dark berry protein without my kids fighting me for it. So I'm very grateful for these superfoods, and anyone who's on this journey. You know, Purium was made for you. It was made for us. So thank you, Allison, for bringing me on here and for introducing me to such a wonderful company.
And thank you for being open to it and all that you have done to, you know, for your family and for sharing it with so many other people. You're such an inspiration. Thank you so much, Kiev. And your baby is just so, like, I mean, I've watched him grow, just such a healthy, strong, both of them are just so beautiful. So such beautiful boys. Thank you so much, Kiev. I know we wanted Sherry to just do a quick share, if that's okay. We're gonna go a tiny bit over, Naiva, like she was just gonna, or yeah, is it okay, or should we save
Sure,
it
are
for
you
next?
available, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I can do. I think I have a little guy here who was overdue for a nap, but if he lets me, I can try. I think the shares were amazing today. I didn't get to really focus on them as much as I would have wanted to, but I'll definitely be watching the replay myself because I want to really hear everybody's stories. But actually, my daughter is in the hospital right now, giving birth to her second. So this is why I have my first little grandson here with me, hanging out. And she also, actually, she was supposed to share today, but she unexpectedly, well, is giving birth today. So she has also been using Purium throughout her pregnancy, and she actually started using it in the middle of her pregnancy with Vince, this little guy here, who's now almost a year and a half. I know that and she also had them very close together, as you could tell. And because of that, she was deemed high risk throughout this second pregnancy that she's just ending now. But even though she was seen as high risk, she had a really smooth pregnancy in terms of how she was feeling, considering that, she's up nights with this guy still. And she said it so many times that she just doesn't know what she would do without Purium, because I mean, it's just made a world of a difference. If she doesn't have time to eat because she's running after this little guy who just started to walk, then she can have her power shake, she can have her love meal, she has so many options, and she always feels really, really nourished. And with that, we'll go straight to the call to action, because I know that we're over time. Okay, so well, first, the call to action today, I believe, is going to be, we're going to ask you to share last week's call. So last week's call was on prenatal, right? What to do before getting pregnant. So if you know of anybody who is trying to get pregnant right now, share that call. So our calls are all on our YouTube channel. You can find all of our replays there. So if you haven't subscribed to us there, go subscribe. And you can, it's such, I say this all the time, it's one of the biggest tools that we have. I really do believe that. Long before I became a council member, I was sharing Million Mom Movement calls all of the time because they're just, as you can see just from today's call, packed with so much important, vital information. And, when we share it with people who are going through the same thing, it makes a world of a difference. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook. You can like us on our Facebook at Million Mom Movement, and join our community Facebook group, so Million Mom Movement Official. And then you can find us on Instagram as well, so follow us there. And don't forget that when you post, when you share the videos, anything that you would like us to repost, Nayeva is amazing at doing that. She's on the ball. So just make sure that you hashtag it with either Million Mom Movement, or I am the Million Mom Movement, or we are the Million Mom Movement, and she'll be sure to reshare. And I believe, am I missing anything?
No, that was great, Sherry. You just flew right through it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Can I just say quickly, we have an amazing call for next week. So another call to action will be to invite everyone to next week, which will be the part 3 of the series. And we have an amazing guest who's going to be Alison Ellsbury. She's been on some of our calls in the past, and she is just a wealth of knowledge that you're going to want to hear. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Allison. Yes, from pregnancy to parenthood next week, embracing post-pregnancy journey. So we're going to be talking about postpartum next week. And so yes, please share the replay from last week, invite people to next week's. This replay will be up shortly. Thank you all so much for joining us here today.